Yo, this is Diamond D, and I just jumped off the porch with my man Dirty Glove Bastard, all right? Real hip-hop in the building, baby.
Let me show my vision, now listen to what's inside of me. It's 2023 and I'm still spitting my philosophy. Somewhere in the place.
Yes, sir. We right back at it, y'all. We got hip-hop royalty. We got a legend. Today, we got Diamond D jumping off the porch with us today. What's up, bro?
What's going on, fam? How you doing?
Man, everything's great, bro. I can't complain, right? I can't complain. Yes, sir. Man, it's an honor to have you on the porch, bro, for real. You know what I mean? As someone who, you know, is respected as, you know, like one of the people that really helped to like lay the foundation for the culture and, you know, for the sound, man. I just really want to give you your props and, you know, I'm excited to, you know, hear more about your story and how, you know, things came about.
No doubt.
So, man, you know, first of all, before even, you know, talking about the Bronx and all that, I just want to know, like, how did D.I.T.C form, man? Like, how did that dope collective come together?
We all grew up in the same neighborhood. You know what I mean? I lived across the street from Joe. Lord Finesse lived behind Joe. Forest Projects, South Bronx. Show Biz lived about 2 blocks away. So basically, we were all just in close proximity to each other. And we were all into hip-hop, doing various things. And about 1991, we all decided to come together and form a collective. AG came into the fold through, I believe, I think Show Biz.
Okay.
And OC came into the fold from Buckwild. Buckwild actually grew up not too far from here where we at. And OC came in through Buckwild. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's how everything originally formed.
And the dope thing about your guys' collective was that it was a collective of leaders. Like it seems like everybody within DITC like had their own respective camps, and you know what I mean. So it was like a group full of leaders, you know.
Yeah. And everybody were doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Before we clicked up.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, it panned out that way. From the outside looking in, you could see everybody had their own thing going.
Word.
And then when we just formed, it just made it that much better.
Yeah. Can you talk to me about growing up and drawing graffiti in the Bronx?
Yeah, like, you know, I wasn't like really like bombing trains or nothing. I was just like doing like little tags or whatever. Fat Joe, of course.
Yeah.
You know, even back then he was writing crack. This is all before the music.
Yeah.
I mean, I was already DJing, but just locally. You know, I hadn't broke nationally yet. But yeah, we were all writers back then. You know, even Lord Finesse. You know, you could tell by the way if anybody ever seen Lord Finesse sign his autograph, you can tell he used to write just by the strokes. So we were just all immersed, you know, into the hip hop culture.
Word. And so they're like the different elements of hip hop bring you together, and then you guys came together and rapped, and you know what I mean?
Right. You know, first the graffiti, then the dancing. You know, we all pop locked. You know what I mean? And then we all got into DJing and rapping, producing. You know, yeah. So,
do you remember like what got you into producing? Like what piqued your interest, you know, with wanting to be on that side of the music?
Legendary DJ Jazzy Jay. I came up under Jazzy Jay. He's the one who taught me the fundamentals of producing. You know what I mean? Now Jazzy Jay, he was the DJ for a group called Soul Sonic Force back in the days. They had that song Planet Rock.
Oh yeah.
You know, Jazzy Jay also helped jumpstart Def Jam Records. He produced a song called It's Yours for Tila Rock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then he went on from there. He started Strong City Records with Masters of Ceremony. That was the first group Grand Puba was a part of. You know what I mean? So for somebody coming up in the Bronx, like Jazzy Jay was that dude. So I was in a group called the Ultimate Force, and he signed us.
Yeah.
And basically, not to get off topic, but he's the one who really got me into production and taught me the fundamentals of it. You know what I mean? Just by watching him and the little advice he would give me. You know, I owe all that to Jazzy Jay.
Word. And were you MCing first and then?
No, I was DJ first.
Okay, got you.
DJing first, then producing.
Yeah.
Then rhyming.
Yeah. You know, it's ill because, you know, you're probably like for real the first producer / rapper, at least like to have like true success in it, you know what I'm saying, in both realms.
Yeah, I agree.
You say you would take that?
No. But you know, Dr. Dre's album dropped in 92 also.
Yeah.
And you know, he's another triple threat.
Yeah, nah,
You
for
know,
sure.
he
Sure.
he DJs, he rhymes, he produces. So, you know, I was in good company.
Yeah.
But you know, I would probably say it was just him and I.
Yeah. Nah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Man, how ill is it, bro, when you think about it? Like when, you know, we didn't have social media, but then you guys were up here in the Bronx, you know, doing y'all thing. You know, Bun B and, you know, Pimp were in, you know, Texas, you know, doing their thing. Or more the Ghetto Boys, you know what I'm saying? Scarface and them around the same time.
Right.
You know, we're doing their thing. Like, how dope is it, you know what I mean, when we look at it now and see that folks were all over the country, even all over the world, you know what I mean, like using this expression.
Right. I mean, it go back to the 80s, you know, when hip hop really exploded nationally. You know, you got to give Run DMC their credit. They took it to another level.
For sure.
You know, before that, you know, you had Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five and groups like that, but Run DMC are the ones that really took it nationally, especially about 1984, 85, when they released Walk This Way. You know, they were the first hip-hop group to start doing arenas.
Yeah.
You know, and videos were new. So, yeah, it impacted all states around the country, around the world, for that matter. You know what I mean? With
Shel Smith, that was
just spread like wildfire.
Yeah. Nah, for sure. And the first song I ever heard you on, I'm a huge Tribe Called Quest fan. So, you know, the song with Q-Tip, infamous line, you know,
show business?
Show business, you know what I mean? Record business rule number 10,080.
Right.
You know what I mean? But classic. But you were featured on that song. That was, you know, my introduction to you and was following you, you know, ever since then. But can you talk about how did you connect with Tribe and get, you know, with them and be one of the few features on the Low End Theory album?
Yeah, you know, in hindsight, me being on that Tribe Called Quest record kind of gave me the layup for my album, because my album wasn't out yet. I think it came out maybe a few months later, but the story behind that is I went down there and I met with Tip. I went down there to play him some beats, actually. You know, and while I was down there, they were working on Show Business. And originally, it was the Brand Nubians were on there. And Puba, Jive didn't like they didn't like some of the things he was saying in his verse without saying what he said in his verse. But you know, he was a guard body, so you can just put one and one together. But anyway, so Jive asked Puba to say his verse over. And I think Puba was like, nah, I ain't doing it over. You take it or leave it. So at the same token, Lord Jamar and Sadat, they were like, shit, we want to be on the album. You know what I mean? And at the time, Tip knew I had an album coming out. He was like, yo, D, you got something for it, you know, let's put it down. So I wrote it right there on the spot. And that became Show Business.
Wow.
Yeah, it came like it's crazy how it came about, but that's actually how it came about.
Like being at the right place, right time, like just, Yeah,
your man Grand Puba was like, yo, take it or leave it. This is 1992. So the Brand Nubians are on fire.
Yeah.
So, you know, Puba was like, listen, y'all take it or leave it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yo, I stayed right up in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then and then right after that, you dropped your debut album, right?
Correct. Yeah.
What was the energy around that? Can you speak on that? Like, what was the feel like here in New York City? Like,
In New York City around that time?
yeah.
Well, you know, Tribe was hot. Brand Nubians were hot. Leaders of the New School. You know, De La Soul, of course, the Jungle Brothers. I'm leaving out a few artists, but basically, you know, it was like the time was ripe for boom bap hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was blessed to come out right in the middle of that. I started off as a DJ, so I already knew a lot of breaks, you know, a lot of hard to find samples.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you know, actually, when I got my deal, I didn't really tell too many people. I just like kind of kept it to myself. A few people knew.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it was just a good time for hip hop back then.
And you, when did you sign to Mercury Records?
I signed with Mercury back in '92.
Okay. And
Back in Brian Chen signed me. He was the A&R. He came over from Priority Records. Yeah, actually, pardon me. Actually, it was PWL Chemistry Records. Mercury was the distributor.
Got you.
For Stunts Blunts.
Got
you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And what was the single like from that album?
From Stunts Blunts?
Yeah.
Best Kept Secret.
Best Kept Secret.
That was the first one. Then Sally Got a One-Track Mind.
Sally Got a One-Track Mind.
Right.
The one I remember, yeah.
And I think the third one was Gotta Get Away. Yeah.
And when did you link with the Fugees to produce?
About 3 years later.
You produced the score, right?
Correct.
The title track on the
Yeah. About 2 or 3 years later, I was in the tunnel, and Wyclef approached me. He was like, "Yo, we know we like your stuff. Come to the studio and play some joints." So about a week later, I went over there. I think that they might have picked like 2 joints, but they only wound up using the joint, the track that became the score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how that came about.
Word.
Yeah.
Fat Joe said in the interview that you saved his life. Can you speak on that? I mean, he always is, you know, he props and just always, you know, bigging you up. But he definitely says that you were like really instrumental.
Yeah, we know. I don't know. Maybe like I remember like I said, we grew up with each other, so we already knew each other. But you know, I remember he approached me like, "Yo, you know, I want to start rhyming. You know, I've been writing some rhymes," and I'm looking at him like, "Yo, you can't be serious." So I say, "Listen, if you are serious, get up some money, we'll go to the studio." You know, and you know, he already had a few dollars on him, so we went in the studio and we recorded a few songs. You know, this is around it, and also one of the songs we recorded became Flojo, which was his first single. And he got signed by Relativity via Chris Lighty. Shouts out to Chris Lighty. You know, and Red Alert played a huge part too. At this time, Red Alert had these DJ promos MCs would do to promote his show. And actually, the beat to Flojo started off as a promo for Red Alert. And then, you know, everybody loved that track so much, loved that beat so much, rather. It became the first single. And that was the start of Fat Joe's career.
Yeah. You know, Fat Joe, he tells his stories and, you know, people think that they fabricate it because he's everywhere. You know what I mean? Like Fat Joe done been, you know, just in so many different rooms and so many, you know, different scenarios. But speaking of that, you've, you know, been around the block, you know what I mean? And I know that back in Atlanta when Pac shot the undercover police officers, you was actually with him.
Oh, yeah, I was in the car with him.
Yeah.
Coming from Clark University. He had a show there. And on the way back is where that incident happened. Yeah, I was right in the car with him in the back seat. Yup, I remember that shit like it was yesterday.
That was both in the mud.
Well, you know what? I don't want to talk too much about it because everybody pretty much knows what happened. But I want to touch on one thing. It started because like we were going back to the hotel. You know what I mean? We got drinks, we got girls, we going to have a nice time. And Pac noticed these two officers, harassing this black dude. These two white officers, harassing the black dude. Fucking total stranger. And Pac slammed on the brakes and jumped out the car to go help him. That's how the whole shit started. Like, Pac didn't even know dude. He just saw him being pressed by two, well, we didn't know they were police because they were plain clothes. So he just saw two white dudes in a black man's face. And come to find out, they were off duty, drunk. They stole weapons from the evidence room from another county. Like, they were wrong all the way around. That's the only time you'll ever hear about a black man shooting two police officers in the ass and walking free. Right. You know what I mean? Like, them two dudes, they were all the way in the wrong. Your man Pac beat that case.
Nah, for sure. And from your memory, like, what kind of guy was Pac, man? What type of dude was he?
Pac, he's one of the realists. You know what I mean? Like, aside from the street shit, when I saw him jump out of that car to help a stranger. Now, mind you, like I said, we coming back from the show. We got girls with us. We got drinks. Like we going to do our thing. You know what I mean? And he could have just saw a dude and said, "Yo, I don't know, dude," and just kept it moving. But I guess the Black Panther in him. He slammed on the brakes and he got out to help a total stranger. You know what I mean? I wish they could find that black dude who Pac helped.
Yeah.
So he can give his side of the story. But yeah, I was sitting right there. You know what I mean? So
that would be interesting to hear that other guy, like, you hear his perspective from.
Total stranger.
Even if them and Pac kept a relationship after, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, but I know that's how it started.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then you produce the Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music remix. Did the remix for Outkast, yeah, great. Talk about what that was like working with Outkast, because also that was at a time, where, it
was a little division.
Yeah, it was some division between the North and the South. Dre at the Source Awards, said the South got something to say. So can you just speak to that? The next year?
L.A. Reid, I think L.A. Reid's brother name is Brian. I believe his name is Brian, but Brian reached out to me. He was like, "Yo, I like what you're doing. We want you to remix this record." So I told him, send it over. I submitted, I think, 3 versions, and they picked the one that they liked. And that's how the remix came out. But definitely around that time, it was a lot of division. And later on, maybe a few years later, when I ran into Big Boy, he was like, "Yo, D, not for nothing, but you kind of helped break us in New York with that remix." You know what I mean? Because like you said, New York really wasn't really wasn't feeling nothing outside of New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But hey, if you're from New York, you already know, everything competitive.
Yeah.
And it's not like New York hated on the South or the West. New York hated on New York. Fuck them Queens niggas, fuck them Bronx niggas, fuck them Brooklyn niggas. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, those are good memories.
Nah, I could dig it. And then you worked with Dungeon Family, more. You did a Creep remix for TLC, but I know I didn't say that never.
Same thing. I was cool with L.A. Reid and his brother Brian. You know what I mean? And I was in Atlanta a lot working with Dallas Austin.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just made sense. I was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you've been someone who's worked with a diverse, list of artists. I mean, like, from your different projects. I mean, you've worked with everybody from Snoop to Man, that song you got with Bone Crusher is crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
Appreciate that.
yeah, no, for sure.
No doubt.
What was it about, like, what just gravitated you to just be open-minded and, you know what I mean, just tapping into so many different, you know, styles and being open to that?
I mean, I didn't really have to conform my sound to, you know, I made people come to me. You know, when you have your own sound, you know, and people fucking with you like that, you don't really have to conform. You know, also to touch on that, I was one of the first East Coast producers to work with a lot of West Coast artists.
Yeah.
You know, the Alcoholics, Exhibit, Cypress Hills, House of Pain, Razzcast, The Far Side. You know, and some of these collaborations were going on during the East Coast, West Coast beef, which really wasn't about two coasts. You know, it's just about two group of people really having a beef with each other.
Yeah.
But you know, I got a lot of money with West Coast groups. You know what I mean? And you know, a lot of them songs became classics.
No, for sure. Can you speak on the Dana Barrow, Cedric Ceballos song that you produced? Like, did you actually work with those guys?
Yeah, they was in the studio. Ham and Dana Barrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on an NBA album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
That subject has been like going around like a bunch of the different like sports always have been talking about it. They okay, let's go ahead and conspire that.
They wrote their own rhymes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Wow, you brought that up. You took it back. All right. So I think D.I.T.C was on that joint too.
I want to ask you about a couple of joints that you've produced. KRS-One, oh yeah.
Taking it back.
One of my favorite songs.
Yeah, one of my favorites too.
Do you remember, like, can you tell us any just memories of like being in the studio working with Chris and what it's like working with KRS-One?
Yeah, me and Chris, we worked out of a studio called Unique Studios. I think it was down in like 47th or 48th in Broadway. You know, and that was one of the spots across the street from Quad Studios, ironically. And you know, with Chris, you know, real quick, 1 or 2 takes, in and out, good energy, good dude. You know, he's a legend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, we both from the Bronx, so we was meaning to work with each other anyway. And those sessions led to me working on his second album, titled KRS-One.
Yes.
Where I did Build Your Skills and Squash All Beef. Yeah, so that's how all that came about.
Right.
And me and Chris worked together on a song called The Kings, which was released last year. On the Initium album that I did.
Okay, yeah.
So, you know, shouts out to the Blast Master.
Yes,
you know, he's an iconic, legendary MC.
Can you speak on the meaning behind the titles of your solo albums? So you have the Diam Piece, and then you dropped one that was called Duo, and then one.
Well, not to cut you off, but so what happened was I released the Diam Piece one about maybe like, I don't know, about 9 years ago. I dropped the Diam Piece 2 about 3 years ago. And for the Diam Piece 3, I had about 30 songs. So I was like, you know, only a fool would put out an album with 30 joints. You know, in this day and age, people's attention spans are not that tune.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's your favorite artist. You're not going to sit there and listen to 30 joints. You might, but the probability is, you know, you won't. So what I said, instead of me putting out an album with 30 joints, that's 3 projects. You know what I mean? So I chopped it up into 3 parts. Initium, Duo, and Tria.
Gotcha.
And I said, I'm going to release one every 4 to 5 months. You know what I mean? That'll give each project a chance to breathe on its own. You know, also, it gives me as an artist and a producer a whole full year of content, of putting out new music. as opposed to dropping one album with 30 joints and trying to work it for 8 or 9 months. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So that's how that came out. Initium is 1, or the start. Duo 2. Tria 3.
Word.
Latin words.
Gotcha.
For those who are curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who influences Diamond D? Like, who are some artists, some producers, you know what I mean? Like, who are some people that have influenced you, whether it's in the past or even now, if you know what I mean?
As producers, I was first inspired by the Bomb Squad, Marty Marl, 45 King, Prince Paul, of course Jazzy Jay, Tribe Called Quest, and then the next generation, some of my peers, Pete Rock, Large Professor, Buckwild, you know what I mean? High Tech, Havoc, Alchemist, you know what I mean? We all came up together, and we all pushed each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, those are the people that inspired me.
Word. Nah, that's what's up. What would you say is one of the biggest life lessons that you've learned, navigating through the industry and
life lesson? I don't care how cool you are with somebody. Just remember, this shit is a business. A handshake and a smile is cool, but make sure your paperwork is straight. You know what I mean? Because once the business is done, you don't want to be backtracking, to fix shit or whatever. Always have a lawyer. You got money for other shit, get money for a lawyer. A lawyer that does his due diligence.
Yeah.
Those are two of my biggest life lessons.
Word.
Yeah.
You being a producer, that like you're a sample, like you sample a lot.
Yeah, sample based.
Yeah,
no
sample based production. Yeah.
I also play instruments too.
Oh, okay. Word. How do you feel about I feel like a lot of producers nowadays, they may sample, but they aren't trying to like clear the samples, or you know what I mean, like just
or replay them over.
Yeah.
Because producers, we want to hold on to as much publishing as we can. If I can get somebody to play a sample over, then all I have to do is clear the master. I don't have to clear the publishing side. When you clear a sample, it's two sides. You got to clear the label, the master, and you got to clear the publishing.
Yeah.
So a lot of producers smart and dumb just say, hey, I can get somebody to replay it, and save some of my publishing, because that's where the money is at. Publishing and mechanicals.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a choice producers have to make. Some joints you just don't want to replay. But also, when the label started coming down on a sample, it made producers become more crafty. Instead of loops, now we're going to chop it up.
Right.
We're going to chop it up so good that the person who made it wouldn't even be able to tell it came from that. You know what I mean? So it definitely breeded creativity. So hey, it is what it is. And Chris, real quick, 1 or 2 takes, in and out, good energy, good dude. He's a legend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we both from the Bronx, so we was meaning to work with each other anyway. And those sessions led to me working on his second album, titled KRS-One.
Yes.
Where I did Build Your Skills and Squash or Beef. Yeah, so that's how all that came about.
Right.
And me and Chris worked together on a song called The Kings, which was released last year. On the Initium album that I did.
Okay, yeah.
So, shouts out to the Blast Master.
Yes,
he's an iconic, legendary MC.
Can you speak on the meaning behind the titles of your solo albums. So you have the Diam Piece, and then you dropped one that was called Duo, and then one.
Well, not to cut you off, but so what happened was I released the Diam Piece one about maybe like I don't know, about 9 years ago. I dropped the Diam Piece 2 about 3 years ago. And for the Diam Piece 3, I had about 30 songs. So I was like, only a fool would put out an album with 30 joints. In this day and age, people's attention spans are not that tune.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's your favorite artist. You're not going to sit there and listen to 30 joints. You might, but the probability is, you won't. So what I said was, instead of me putting out an album with 30 joints, that's 3 projects. You know what I mean? So I've chopped it up into 3 parts. Initium, Duo, and Tria.
Gotcha.
And I said I'm going to release one every 4 to 5 months. You know what I mean? That'll give each project a chance to breathe on its own. Also, it gives me as an artist and a producer a whole full year of content, of putting out new music, as opposed to dropping one album with 30 joints and trying to work it for 8 or 9 months. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So that's how that came out. Initium is 1, or the start. Duo, 2. Tria, 3.
Word.
Latin words.
Gotcha.
For those who are curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who influences Diamond D? Like, who are some artists, some producers, you know what I mean? Like, who are some people that have influenced you, whether it's in the past or even now, if you know what I mean?
As producers, I was first inspired by the Bomb Squad, Marty Marl, 45 King, Prince Paul, of course, Jazzy Jay, Tribe Called Quest. And then the next generation, some of my peers, Pete Rock, Large Professor, Buckwild, you know what I mean? High Tech, Havoc, Alchemist, you know what I mean? We all came up together, and we all pushed each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, those are the people that inspired me.
Word. Nah, that's what's up. What would you say is one of the biggest life lessons that you've learned, navigating through the industry? And
life lesson. I don't care how cool you are with somebody. Just remember, this shit is a business. A handshake and a smile is cool, but make sure your paperwork is straight. You know what I mean? Because once the business is done, you don't want to be backtracking, to fix shit or whatever. Always have a lawyer. You got money for other shit, get money for a lawyer. A lawyer that does his due diligence.
Yeah.
Those are 2 of my biggest life lessons.
Word.
Yeah.
You being a producer, that like you're a sample, like you sample a lot.
Yeah, sample based.
Yeah, no sample based production. Yeah.
I also play instruments too.
Oh, okay. Word. How do you feel about I feel like a lot of producers nowadays, they may sample, but they aren't trying to like clear the samples, or you know what I mean, like just
or replay them over.
Yeah.
Because producers, we want to hold on to as much publishing as we can. If I can get somebody to play a sample over, then all I have to do is clear the master. I don't have to clear the publishing side. When you clear a sample, it's 2 sides. You got to clear the label, the master, and you got to clear the publishing. So a lot of producers smart and dumb just say, hey, I can get somebody to replay it.